We are live. Welcome to the show. Hello, Geno. How are you?
What's up, Keith? What's going on, man?
Not much. Anything new with you?
Not really, but I told you I was going to tell you a story, so I'm going golfing with my my soon-to-be niece's husband and my two brothers. So it's going to be three Esken uncles taking out the soon-to-be niece's husband. And I said to myself, I got to get golf clubs. I have a set of golf clubs. In fact, it's so funny that how everything leads back to where our roots are. My golf clubs actually came from Scott Wagner. I bought them off of Scott Wagner 30 plus years ago because he's left-handed. I'm left-handed. So he had them for sale. I bought them for a couple bucks. And I still have those clubs. I still swing those clubs. And I said, I got to get a new pair of clubs. My ADHD kicked in. And then I just went goofy on trying to find the right set of golf clubs. And then this afternoon, I had this epiphany, and I don't need new golf clubs. I suck. And I'm going to just keep using the clubs I own. And so that's my stories.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I remember years ago, me, you, and Scott, man, went golfing at what was the golf course up there on Logan Church Road, the par 9?
Oh, the par 3, the little par 3 where the garden self-storage is now, yeah.
But I don't remember you golfing a lot. I didn't know you really golfed.
I did. Especially when I was a policeman, that was like my therapy. I'd go out by myself and just play 9 somewhere. It was like either before or after a shift. If I was a daylight shift, I'd golf in 3-4 o'clock, or if it was a 3 to 11 shift, I'd golf before work. So I actually got okay decent, but life happens and that just takes a back step. So I'm kind of like trying to get back into it a little bit, but still life's getting in the way.
Yeah,
which is fine. I went totally fine.
Seriously golfing with my brothers once. My one brother Brian's in the Navy. He was a big golfer.
Oh, okay.
I went the one time with him, and I think by the 3rd hole, they told me just to stop, and I could just drive the golf
Did you
cart
like
the rest
it?
of the time. I didn't like it at all.
You didn't like it?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, I like driving the golf cart. So
yeah, guess what? They usually have beer in the back of them.
Yeah. So tonight we got a packed show. We're streaming live on Facebook for the first time, and we'll be joined here shortly by Steve and Marsh from Station 235 in Plum Borough to talk about their stipend program. And then Geno's going to take us through a training moment on Mayday procedures. And then later in the show, we have something special. We have Geno's son, Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, here in the studio with us tonight. You'll see some helmet cam footage from him, and we'll bring him on to talk about what it's like being the 3rd generation firefighter. So, Sully, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. We'll come back to you in a little bit later. But first, we're going to bring in past Chief Steve and Marsh from Station 235, Logan's Ferry's Height in Plum Borough, to talk about their stipend program. Thank you for joining us, Steve.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys. Thanks for the opportunity here to talk about the stipend program we have going on in Plum. I kind of got kicked off here late first quarter this year. So started listening to you guys from the beginning. So I saw an opportunity and threw a Hail Mary out there and said, hey, can I get the floor for a little bit? So I'm happy you guys gave me that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, we're pleased to have you on, man.
No, I appreciate it.
So tell us what started this program and why did you guys bring it on, and a little bit of the details about it.
So just like every fire department around the local area, unless you're getting a paycheck, in my opinion, you're probably hurting on staffing, right? We hear this problem constantly in our world. Recruit, retention, staffing. The problem is got to be out the door quick, guys. We know that this isn't like when I started. We don't have the time like we did for the home response. So when I was chief, there is an association within Plum Borough that's called the Plum Borough Fire Chiefs Association. And for the people that don't know about Plum Borough, we're around 29 square miles, which is a little bit of coverage area there.
Yeah, it's a big area.
From when you look at maybe a town that might have a single square mile. So we're comprised of 4 independent organizations in Plum Borough: Unity, Renton, Logan's Ferry, and Holiday Park. So we had heard about this Unity Township model. They were kind of the first of the game that the Chiefs heard about. And one of my colleagues, Chief Jim Sims, you guys probably might know the name.
Pierce.
Reached out. Yeah, Mr. Pierce, right? reached out to Mr. Bill Watkins and said, "Hey, tell us about your stipend program." And we ran with it. Chief Watkins was great. He sent us over their information, what they're doing, and we basically took their model and made it applicable for Plum Borough. These things, they're not cut and paste. You know, everybody's got to do it their own way for their town. So we came up with something what we thought was right and would help. And so far, so good. It's working. Just like any project, it could get a little bit better. The large reason here is you guys have a platform, right? You have followers, listeners. That's why you guys are doing this. And we're trying to, the program's running great. And we're to the point where we got to start reaching out to try to use this as a recruiting tool as well. We're all fighting for the same people, unfortunately, in this trade right now. So what makes you different, right? And this is something Plum has that some other municipalities have, but we're one of the few fortunate ones that are trying this. So I was here today to just kind of answer some questions from you guys.
Sure.
The flyer is up. You guys are sharing the flyer. Give the listeners a little idea of the shifts, because that's usually the first question we get. Hey, what are the hours? We mainly focus Monday through Friday. First shift starts at 7 o'clock, ends at noon. Second shift comes in at noon, goes till 5. That's where we're at right now with the shifts. We are budgeted for 4 members on each shift, but we do have some room, like any good financial manager. We have some room there if adjustments benefit the community.
So when did you start this program? How long has it been rolling out?
We went live basically April 1st, live to the community's eyes. The good thing here is we are very fortunate. I want to give a shout out to Plum Council and the Mayor of Plum. This program is actually being backed by our council people, and it is being funded by our Plum Council, which is a huge advantage for running this program. We're not out there trying to fry fish to do this program, right?
Gotcha.
Which is huge. Without their involvement, this program doesn't work. Doesn't even get talked about.
So I see in the requirements, obviously, you have to be a member of one of the fire departments. But I'm assuming, are you allowing outside people to come in, join the department just to run these shifts, or do they actually have to be a participating member of your companies?
So that's up to the department they choose. I can speak on our membership from Logan's Ferry. I'm not entitled to speak, obviously from the other departments, but we do offer a stipend membership platform that, if someone wants to join from, Pleasant Hills, right, to do this, we do not require points. We don't require meetings. We don't. We would like to see them come to a couple trainings a year just to kind of meet the guys, but we do have a membership that allows them to be on our insurance and participate in the program. We actually have a handful of guys from Plum Borough out of Westmoreland County that actually participate in this program already.
Oh, cool.
Have you noticed a lot of your own members prior to this program starting? Are they starting to take advantage of it?
So I knew that was one of the questions that was coming. So we have 39 members in Plum Borough that are signed off by their chiefs to participate right now. 30 out of the 39 members have at least worked one shift so far.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard because we're Monday through Friday, right? And we're asking for daylight staffing. The normal people like myself, I have a day job. I can't do this all the time, right? It has to fit into your schedule. That's one of the challenges with this program, unfortunately.
And obviously, I mean, I imagine you have to be seeing benefits of having staffed guys there with response times, getting out the door quicker.
Yeah. So one call I was actually a part of, it came in as a working car fire out of from dispatch out of 911. It was at a two-story home, car right outside the garage door, not inside, fully involved. We got out the door quick, got there, got the fire knocked, never made it into the house. I'm a believer. We made a huge difference in that instance because we were on scene in under 5 minutes and had water on the fire under 6 minutes from time of dispatch. Unfortunately, in Plum, we do rely pretty heavy on home response, which we all know what that does to on-scene time. It increases it, right? Fast out the door, qualified pump operators, good interior work, good firemen. Fire goes out a lot quicker most of the time.
So what kind of money are we talking about for the stipend?
Right now, it's $75 per shift. So if they work a full 10-hour day, it's $150 for the day.
Is that taxable?
It
How
is
does that
tax.
work? Yeah, how does that work?
So if somebody earns over $600 on this program, they will receive a 1099 at the end of the year.
Okay, so you're responsible. So the
Yeah,
individual firefighter will be responsible to set aside the taxes for the month. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's some logistics here we have to work through.
Sure.
We make that pretty clear when somebody signs up. We are not withholding taxes for that fireman, so they are responsible. And that leads to the next point. There is a federal cap number that we have to stay under as far as total earnings for a firefighter in this program, which is right around $13,000.
So one of our viewers is asking, Jeff Hugers, chief of Skyview Fire Department, but he's asking about how the funding works. And this maybe what you were just talking about a little bit there, but his municipality had stated it's illegal for them to give money for staffing. But I would assume because you're calling a stipend program, it's not truly money for staffing.
Yeah, so we are not borough employees. We're not employed by the borough. We had to go through multiple attorneys to get this program up and running to make sure we were by the books doing this. But the attorneys viewed the letter of agreement between the borough and the 4 fire departments through the Plum Chiefs Association. So I can't comment. I don't know the back end 100%, Chief. But that funding does not. It is funded from the borough. I can speak on that.
Yeah, that's what some people are saying on here now. Like too many tax rules, or yeah, But if you want to take them, if you want to take the thing, you just have to know to put a couple bucks aside. It's really not hard to figure out.
Yeah, when I work with members from my department, Chief, what I do is I tell them 30% of every check. You put it aside, right? You put it in a little kitty and you don't touch it. They touch it, that's on them. Unfortunately,
yeah.
But, that if you take 30%, you'll be close at the end of the year.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah.
So what kind of response are you seeing? You like having trouble staffing the shifts, or are you seeing a good turnout from?
We've seen a decent turnout. I'm just logging in here 1 second, guys, to get some more accurate data here.
And while you're doing that, so in the future, that was one of our goals to maybe talk a little bit more about the different legalities and the tax things that come into staffing volunteer fire departments. I know everybody does a little bit of a different workaround to get that, but we'd like to actually dive a little bit deeper in it. Maybe get somebody on, either a legislator or an attorney, to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best way, guys. Someone with some legal background. I mean, we went through four revisions with 2 different attorneys to make sure this thing was squared away. We were really hopeful that we were going to start at the first of the year, but it took us to April to even get started. So
I think isn't there a firefighter in I think it's Greensburg who is an attorney? Kim
Hauser.
Chief,
yeah, Kim Hauser, correct.
Is he chief out there or something? You said.
Well, I don't know if he was, but that's actually who we
that might be somebody we want to
reach out to,
look into. Yeah, I've never met him, but I've heard a lot about.
Yeah, he specializes in emergency law, so he would be a great guest for you guys to maybe work through that kind of the legal side.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, we've been talking about this a lot. Volunteer fire departments have to do something with staffing, and it seems like we're just, shoestrung on some of the things we can do because of
We
the
talked a lot
various
about it.
laws and stuff like that. Yeah. So it'd be nice to actually get somebody
Right.
on that can actually tell us what the legalities are, if it are, and maybe we can reach out to various legislation and try to get something resolved so it makes it easier for these volunteer fire departments to actually do what's right and get some staffing in their departments.
Sure.
Yeah, one of the keys here, guys, is I look at the call statistics pretty heavy. The politicians like numbers. So you there, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, we're
here.
gonna keep going. We're
Yeah.
good.
So our average out the door time since the program started, out the door, en route, on the radio, is right around 2 minutes. And then average on scene time, we're right about 8 minutes on scene, which
Also
we
difference, yeah.
we one of the highest debated topics is where do these firefighters go, right? We have 4 stations in Plum. They each have an advantage to be at each station, right? We as a committee chose to put them in the center of the borough, put them centrally located. That way they can go north, south, east, and west the quickest way they can. That was one of the highest debated topics between the chiefs is where do these guys function out of, right? But it ended up being a pretty good decision in the most part. These guys are doing a great job. The community outpour from this program has been amazing.
Oh, that's good.
When we're getting on scene, the community residents are even asking us, "Hey, are you part of that crew thing?" They don't know what to call it, right? But we know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And we are under a pilot program with this program. It is a 1-year pilot program, and then our council is going to look at do we extend this or don't we extend this? Is it working? What is the benefit of this program, the Plum Borough?
Gotcha.
Well,
All right,
great.
well, then
So
maybe we'll have them back on after, the beginning of the year or April or, whenever you guys do that. I'd like to hear like a follow-up on,
yeah, it's gone. So for outside people, I see you got a QR code on your flyer there, but what's the best way to reach out to you to sign up to?
So the best way is a QR code. If you go to any of the 4 fire department Facebook, this flyer is found on there too. There's a direct link. All the applications basically get funneled to myself. I'm unfortunately tasked with a lot of the back end work for the people who are on this call. I will warn you, you kind of need somebody that's going to run the program. There's a lot of number crunching, a lot of keeping things straight, especially when you look at schedules. One thing that advantage that we present, we do not lock the schedule month on month. So at my station, I have some guys that are union operators, right? And they can't work when it rains. Well, if they're off that day, there's some of these guys that might pick up a shift, but they can't lock in until they know they're off for the day.
oh,
So we run the program as long as you reach out to a chief or myself and you're available that next day, we'll get you on the schedule so you can support the program. So it's been a huge benefit to have a little bit of flexibility in this.
I see. Is that why you split the day?
Yep.
Nice. I think, don't you have that in your contract? If it's raining out, you don't go to work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Any
right.
inclement weather, I don't leave.
Yeah. All right, Steve, I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man.
It was interesting to find out about this, and we'll look forward to following up with you down the road, see how the program's working out. Steve's feed might have frozen up, so it's a perfect time. We made it through it. We'll just drop them out. Really appreciate that, Steve. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Oh, shit.
So, Gene,
Yeah.
we wanted to switch over to you, and you're going to talk about some training moments. A training moment.
Yeah. So I think it was either you or Dan or something. Send me some kind of line of duty or a story that we're sharing stories all the time, obviously, but it brings me back to a story and this is a near miss I had. It was very, is bad. But I'll give you a little background on how this near miss, I believe, happened and how we corrected it. So Bob, I spoke about Bob a lot, but I've been with Bob for 20 years, over 20 years now. Bob's my captain, but Bob is also probably one of my best friends. Bob's the guy in the department as a friend that if I was being kidnapped by you guys right now, in 30 minutes, Bob would set your house on fire to get me out. That's who Bob is. Very quiet, very mild-mannered man, but we've just been together for a long time, and it leads me a little bit into Sullivan because basically Bob raised you just like all the rest of the guys in the fire department. Sullivan came up in the fire department in McKeesport, similar to how I came up in the fire department in Pleasant Hills, where at the time it was very close knit. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody went to everybody's ball games, communions, birthday parties. They happened around all firemen, and that's how he was raised, really over in McKeesport. And so he knows Bob very well. Obviously, he knows Bob as well as I know Bob. And how this all came about was the complacency is what I'm getting at now with this is we get a fire, working fire. It happens that it's very, very, very close to the number 2's firehouse. Well, I'm on the other side of the city. I'm downtown. So it takes me a good 4 or 5 minutes to get out to that side of the city. Well, it's a good working fire. Bob reported it, 2-story building, working fire, first and second floor. And I knew as I was responding that Bob would be deep with his partner because there was three or four guys on the engine that day. And so I'm getting there as fast as I can. The truck's getting there as fast as they can because Bob's a very, very, very good and a very aggressive firefighter. So, and great leader. So as I'm walking up to this house, doing putting my head together and starting to form my command, I know the lines in the building. I know it's Bob on the end of the pipe. I'm really not worried about Bob. I'm kind of getting my head around what's going on as I arrive. And I hear Bob on the radio calling. And I think Bob says he needs more hose. Well, I see his backup firefighter is kind of like half in, half out of the building. And I walk over to him and I tap him on the shoulder of this backup firefighter. And I say, Bob needs more hose. So what's he do? He picks the hose up, shoves it. And I hear Bob saying, need more. What I think I hear him say is more hose. But in reality, what he was actually saying was, I need help. And as I turn, and I don't, at this point, not recognizing that's what he's saying, but the guys on a ladder truck apparently clearly heard him say, we need help. And as I turn and I see the ladder guys coming up and they're in a full sprint at me. And I'm like, we run, don't get me wrong. We move with a purpose. We'll say that. But these guys are in a full sprint. And I was taken aback. And they're like, is he all right? Is he all right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And at the same time, I turn and look at the building and Bob's bailing out a sliding glass door. Like it was open, but he was coming out of it. Hits back, rips his face piece off and everything. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, man, almost, man, almost. And I gave him a hug and I missed it. But that leads me into how we correct that situation because thank God Bob didn't get hurt. Everybody was fine. We did lose some animals in the fire, unfortunately, which is heartbreaking, but how we correct it. So that's what I'll move into now as far as, what is a firefighter emergency? I mean, simply, what is it? Yeah, could you answer what a firefighter emergency is?
I think any situation where you find yourself in trouble, I guess.
Right. Well, we always kind of put like a little timeline on it. Well, at least when I was teaching this programs, because I built a couple programs to teach this. Anything that you can't fix in 30 seconds by yourself in a burning building is an emergency. So that's when everything else that has to kick in, am I calling a Mayday? Well, what am I doing before I call that Mayday? if I'm conscious, I am actually going to stop what I'm doing, right? If I'm stuck, something's got me, I'm in an entanglement or whatever it may be, stop. Just stop what you're doing. Identify what the problem is, right? Just figure out, okay, is my foot down the floor? Is some coax cable wrapped around my cylinder? What it is. Can I fix it real quick? But before you do that, once you identify it, I always bring in BOA. If you remember me talking about BOA, the breathe, organize, and act. So that slows your heart rate down, slows your breathing down, and you don't even realize you're doing it. If you do those acts, it will slow your heart rate down. And then obviously communicate with command. And I'm not saying that we didn't stress. We have Mayday policy in McKeesport, obviously. We have a RIT policy in McKeesport. But it wasn't Bob, because Bob and I were so close, is what I was getting at with the complacency. Bob, we don't even call each other a lot of times on the radio by our titles. He'll say Geno, I'll say Bob. And if you listen to any of my fires, a lot of that's like that, just because that's how close we are. But it hurt us there because Bob didn't call the Mayday where he should have called the Mayday. And obviously it's a mistake. It happens, but we corrected it. We fixed it. And that's what I wanted to share with everybody.
So real quick, when you say call the Mayday, you mean use the proper terminology, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
Yeah, so I don't really want to I could teach that program if someone like me to come there, but yeah, it's the Mayday, 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 wait for command or wait for somebody to answer you before you start blurting out what the problem is. Because that also gives you time to slow your heart rate down also. And, wait command unit calling Mayday. And then you respond, engine 19, I'm on the 2nd division, went through the floor, low on air, disoriented, whatever the situation may be. So yes, there is a process. And then it also brings into, and on the command end of a Mayday, or a firefighter down in the building, so many moving parts that have to happen in such a short amount of time. Basically, division of labor. I need to be able to keep firefighters that are on that scene still fighting that fire, because what's our natural instinct? Our natural instinct is to run to that down firefighter. And if we all run to that down firefighter and the building's still burning unchecked, now we got problems. So you need to be able to have good inside operations, so where I could be able to say to a captain or whoever, like, you do not, I'm going to move you to another channel anyway. You're going to get moved immediately, but you are doing nothing but now in command of that fire. That's you, or get outside, whatever the situation may be. And I, as the incident commander, need to completely focus on that down firefighter, whatever that is. I cannot have any outside interruptions as much as I can to not focus on that problem, because that's obviously the biggest problem on the fire ground at that time. So it takes what I believe is a really good leader, a very calm person, a person that could be able to divide labor quickly and not let their emotions control their decision making. And because the minute you let your emotions control your decision making on a fire ground, you're going to start losing things. And it might not. I'm not saying you're going to lose hose or blah, blah, blah. You're going to start losing things mentally in your decision making if you let emotions. And it's a tough thing to do, because, like I said, Bob, Forrest, all the people I work with, these are dudes that I do everything in my life with. So it's difficult, but it takes training and experience, unfortunately, to be able to run an incident like that. It's very complex. Yeah. It's the worst day of any incident commander's life, guaranteed. Worst day.
Yeah, thank you. I know we're talking about this initially. We're laughing a little bit about it. Thankfully, we can laugh about it.
Absolutely. I don't joke about it, but everybody in the department knows that story. Yeah. I've never spoken that story, obviously, for the entire world to hear, but might not be as glamorous as some other stories of near misses or whatever. But it's a near miss. It was very much a near miss. My fault. Multiple people. And that's what happens, right? You get a line of duty death. They're looking at that line. They're telling you, boom, this is what you did wrong. 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 They're never saying, oh, when you were doing this wrong, you did 4 other things that were right. But unfortunately, that right doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
You lose a firefighter on the fire ground, all the rights go away.
Yep.
Which again leads me into the fact that where he comes into the fire service, and if you want to start, how you want to start about that, you want to do the
Yeah. So just real quick, I just want to follow up on that because the one key thing I got out of this. So you can only call Mayday infrastructure, so I can't call Mayday at the pump handle.
you 1000% can call Mayday at the
Oh,
pump,
just checking.
pump
Like
handle, but I don't know how much you're going
if
to
I
get
can't
paid
fill
attention
an
to.
iced tea or something like that,
Right,
I can't
right.
do it
Oh,
within
absolutely, yeah.
30 seconds. So.
Crackers. Or,
So
Chick-fil-A
before
sandwich.
we get to Sully here, we're going to watch a video of him. But that brings us to our sponsor, Fire Cam. For those who run towards the heat, we'd like to thank Fire Cam for sponsoring our episode here. When you get things done in the worst conditions, you want to get a Fire Cam on your helmet so we can capture videos like we're going to see from Sully here shortly. But it captures crystal clear HD 720. 60 frames per second or 1080, 30 frames per second. It records audio, including radio traffic. Small, it's tough, it's affordable. It's made of heat resistant, anodized aluminum, designed by firefighters, for firefighters, and trusted worldwide. So make sure you check out firecam.com and get one of the gadgets, and we'll pull up the video I want to show you of Sully here.
we get a little background before we hit the video, so
Yeah,
you
good.
can give us a little background on this fire if you can.
It was
Hold on, let's get it.
it was a Saturday. I was working at Pleasant Hills. We got a South Park. It's a house fire. They had us immediately. We get there right behind 270. 270 already had the line off their truck, and they were sitting at the front door. And I met them at the front door. And I made entry with a newer kid. It was his first fire, so
that's the lead in for that.
made the knock.
All right, here we go.
Go. There we go, straight back. Let's go, kid. Where you at? Right here, come on. Right here, come on, buddy. Right here. Let's go. Right here, buddy. Huh? Come on in, come on in. See you, get stand up, brother. Come on up, yeah. Yeah, kid, yeah. Hold on, let me open the ceiling up.
All right, and we are back.
That's a pretty proud dad moment there. If you just the audio alone, buddy, is the fact that you are only 22 years old and that you can almost train in a firefighter in there. You know what I mean? You used to do firefighter. You took him in a building. You were telling him what to do, not what to do, but you were guiding him throughout that fire. And it's a proud moment for me. I really get a little tear every time I watch that fire. But
So that brings us to why we brought Sully on. We're going to do an episode on the generational firefighters. So it started with you three. It started with your dad, Geno.
yeah, so my dad joined Pleasant Hills Fire Department in, I believe, 1967. And so he was in the thick of things there in Pleasant Hills with the firefighting community in the fire department. And the story goes that I was overdue in my mom's belly at a fire company picnic. And there were some firefighters who were chasing my mom around with garbage can lids trying to scare her out of me or scare me out of her. I'm sorry. And so, yeah, I've been involved in some way, shape, or form with the fire service pretty much since the day I was born. So, seeing your dad, obviously, the typical hero thing, you see your dad going to fires, and then there were training fires, and my mom would throw us all in a van or a pickup truck or something when there was a late night fire. We would go and sit and watch and help. My mom obviously was the ladies auxiliary. So we would go back to the fire stations after big fires and help my mom, make meals or do whatever for the fire department. So I came up in it, and it was, I was the only one. Briefly, my brother David, God rest his soul, did do a little stint in Pleasant Hills Fire Department, but I was the one who really dove head first without my hands into the fire service. My dad at the time really wasn't active. He was busy with work and things like that. So he really wasn't like an officer or anything like that. He came around, but and he did eventually get a little more active in his older age. But his age is good. He's still getting around and driving and everything like that. But he's afraid to get in the way, really.
Yeah. I know after he retired from the police force, he was a Pleasant Hills police officer also, but when he retired, he got real active again.
Yeah,
driving.
absolutely.
Not only
chief.
not only in
Yeah.
our place, but he also got real active in Jefferson Hills.
Yeah, he was
Down
at
Marsh.
180. I think he's actually a life member there.
He's a life member. He
Yeah.
transferred from large when they got shut down.
So
And then, as Dan was saying, he rose to the rank of assistant chief in our fire company.
yeah, under Tom Watts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think. That was a big turning moment. I think Dan and I have talked about that before. But so anyway, getting back to so I came up through and became an officer here at Pleasant Hills in a department, and just the natural transition, the natural progression through as a kid whose dad was a fireman. Well, Sullivan, before he starts, basically did the same thing in McKeesport. So after I had gotten separated and I had shared custody with my ex-wife, excuse me, I had the kids all the time, and they would go to fires with me. I would go to second alarm fires, and I would put them or him or her or both sometimes in the cab of the truck that's pumping the fire, and the pump operator would watch them in the cab while I went in and did whatever we were doing. And then eventually he got to the point where he was handing equipment out of the cab. So he was 8, maybe 10 years old, and guys would open up the compartment door to get like an air pack coming in on a second alarm fire. And Saul would be at the doorway handing it out to him. And he would change cylinders, and, he didn't do anything like, but he was there, you know what I mean? So that's how he came up in it. Now I personally, go ahead, Keith, if you have some questions.
I have some questions, but you want to sort of talk about what got you involved in the fire department, Sully? Expand upon what your dad was just saying about seeing him growing up.
Growing up in the McKeesport Fire Department, really. Taken from my Bubba to see him on shift and just going all the second alarm fires with him and going back to the firehouse and helping him clean up, and sometimes seeing Pleasant Hills.
So when did you join Pleasant Hills?
I think it was my birthday in 2017, so April of 2017.
So you're 14 years old?
Mhm.
And then now you're a member of Pleasant Hills, also a member of Jefferson Hills?
Yep.
Run shift at both places?
Yes, I do.
All right. So when you started your career in fire, this is for Geno actually. When you started your career in the fire service, did you feel like you had to live up to your father's reputation in the fire service? And then I'm going to ask you the same question too.
I have a kind of unique thing because, not only did I come up in the fire service under his watchful eye, if you should say, but I also came up in law enforcement. So I was a young cop, and he was a cop, a veteran cop. And so I kind of had both. I was following both of his things that it's was I afraid of him? Did you say?
No, did you just feel like pressure to live up to
Oh,
what he
I
was in the fire
know. I
department?
mean, there was no way. There was no way. I knew that going in as I became an adult, that my dad was and is a legend, especially a legend in the fire service, but a legend in law enforcement. I mean, he was Pleasant Hills detective for years. He's made some remarkable arrests and investigations and stuff. My dad he's a legend. He's a legend in my eyes, at least.
So I think obviously possibly maybe more in law enforcement, you might have thought.
Yeah,
You had
law
big shoes
enforcement,
to fill.
100%, because I was so comfortable around him in the fire station because
Yeah.
I'd been with him my whole life there. But law enforcement, yes.
But I
Yes.
wonder, for Sully, did you feel pressure to live up to your dad's reputation?
Yeah, a little bit. Back in 2017, he was pretty involved with a lot of things in a lot of communities. So I was a little nervous to start.
And then the other thing I was sort of curious about, do you guys ever, probably more your dad probably than you, Sully, but like you hear a call come in that either Jefferson Hills or Pleasant Hills and it's a structure fire, do you ever get concerned about him?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story just because he was one of the first outside units in the Clairton Mill. And I'm trying to think how I found out about the Clareton Mill right away, because it wasn't from him. A lot of times what he'll do is he'll tell me, oh, there's a big fire somewhere, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm heading to Clareton, they got a worker or whatever. Well, I forget how I heard about it. And I looked on, because we have like that Find My iPhone thing on my phone. And I looked and he's staged on 837. And you could tell, you could see where his location was. So like immediately I'm like, oh, there's been an explosion at the mill, which is obviously a horrific tragedy. But now I know my 22-year-old boy is, and I could literally at live see him entering this mill. Yeah, I mean, I definitely it's a little gut, you know what I mean? A little gut punch.
Yeah. So your dad mentioned about, his earliest memories of the picnics and stuff like that with his father in the fire service. But what's your earliest memories of your dad just being around the fire department?
I think it was a McKeesport Fire Department picnic a long time ago. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I really remember. I don't remember when my first fire was that he took me to, but I remember the picnics and everything from Pleasant Hills and the Christmas parties up at Pleasant Hills when I was young.
So growing up, did you always know that once you hit junior age that you were going to join the fire department?
Yeah, I knew. Yeah.
I think everybody knew. So I don't think it was a hard one to figure out. So I don't know, like firefighter runs obviously deep in your family through 3 generations. So what does the legacy mean to you, Geno?
Well, I can tell you a few things that my dad had told me and still does give me advice. But the one was, if you touch it, when you put it back down, it better be better than it was when you touched it. So basically, whatever you touch, make better. And I live by that. I honestly live by that every day of my life. Literally, that lives in me from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. Every single thing. Doesn't matter. A child, my grandchild, my wife, my children. You know what I mean? I do my best. We're all human, right? Mm-hmm. But that, and the other thing that I take away from my father that really, really set a thing in my head was, and I've said this to him too 100 times already, is I didn't create the emergency. I'm just trained to try to fix it. And then every time I'm done trying to fix it, it stays there. You know what I mean? Don't bring it home. Don't take it to the next call. Especially in law enforcement. That's where you really find out in law enforcement, especially if you're working in a busy community, and you're going from calls for service. And a lot of times they're frequent flyer people that, argue about things, and, you're always there if the neighbors are calling about the neighbors fighting or, a shooting or, whatever it may be, leave that there, because the next call you're going on, they don't deserve that. They didn't ask you to bring that with them. You know what I mean? So when you get back in that police car and you shut that police car door, clean slate, best you can, clean slate. Okay, I got to go take care of this. It gets tough. It gets really tough. I did that job, and it wears on you. Very, very much wears on you. And any of my law enforcement friends that will ever see this, God bless you all. And I still speak to a few guys that are retired from McKeesport, and I see the guys, and talk about PTSD and things like that. But especially when you're doing the job, when you're out there and you're protecting and serving the public in the law enforcement end, I really did everything I could to make sure I didn't disappoint my father.
Yeah. Just a little quick story about your dad. So I remember he used to always go out Thursday nights, go drinking.
Oh, yeah.
That was after drill. And so he was used to, back in the day after drill, going out drinking with the guys. And then even when he sort of stepped back from the fire department, he just kept up the tradition. Thursday nights were his night to head out to the bar.
Yeah.
And I don't like, even when I would go out though, I'd meet him every here and there. And I don't think he was he wasn't really a big drinker. I think he liked to go socialize more than anything. But I remember the one time I met him up to Legion, and it's funny enough, like a lot of people up there thought I was an Esken because I would hang out with him. And I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically been, since you joined 14.
Yeah.
You've been in my family pretty much that way,
But I remember like one of the Bill Carson up there, and he used to on the text guy. He used to always think I was an Esken, one of the Esken kids or something.
He probably
But-
took care of you and bought you drinks.
Yeah, but your dad, I remember I went to pay for my first drink the first time I went to Legion to meet your dad. And he's like, no. He's like, don't worry about that. And he put a chip out. And the next drink, he put a chip out, and he just kept taking care of them. I finally said something. I'm like, Gene, I can buy my own drink. Like, let me buy a drink. And he goes, look at this. Like, and he showed me he had like a handful of chips. He probably had a stack of like 20 or 30 chips. And he said, and I have a drawer full of them at home because he cannot buy a drink on his own up. When, when he used to go to Legion, everybody would buy him drinks all night long.
He's a love man. He still is a love man.
He just collected those chips because people just constantly buying him drinks and stuff. So I always thought that was it was interesting. I thought that was neat that so many people cared about him. But I had a question, unless you had something you want to say.
No.
I had a question for Sully. So obviously I know, Sully, you're involved right now. You've been involved in multiple fire departments. I know you ran a lot of different places, but primarily Pleasant Hills and Jefferson Hills, and you're running shifts at both places. So I don't foresee, even if you become a career firefighter, which is my question, is that your aspiration to become a full-time career firefighter somewhere? But even if I think you do that, I think you're still going to want to volunteer at a fire department somewhere because you just, it's obviously in your blood and you love it. I know you don't only come to calls when you're on shift. You always come to calls after hours and stuff like that. But what is your aspirations? Are you hoping to get a full-time job in a fire department somewhere someday?
Yeah, McKeesport someday is my plan.
Nice.
Then I'll stay at Jefferson and Pleasant Hills.
So follow the old man's footsteps, huh?
Yeah, hopefully.
Nice. So I sort of probably know the answer to this question, but one of the questions we had is for you, Sully, is how do you respect how the old schoolers used to do things back in the day? So what's your thoughts about that? Like, I think you are sort of a old schooler type person. I think you.
I just try to do things not new generation ways. I try to do it like the old ways how I saw in the McKeesport Fire Department growing up. So I try to take the things that I learned from there and bring them into the modern day.
And he's also friends with a lot of guys, a lot of my younger firefighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's close to a lot of guys there.
So I'm sure keep hitting buttons on the screen here. Yeah. Dan, did you throw it up? I'm sorry. I thought I bumped that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'm sure your dad's giving you a lot of advice about being a firefighter your time. What's your favorite piece of advice that your dad's giving you?
Probably the one about leaving the incident at the emergency and not taking it to the next call with you has helped a lot on a lot of difficult calls that I've been on.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like just you're only 22 and already the amount of crazy calls you've already been to.
And he'll, and you know, I got to give him props because if it's a bad call, he'll call me pretty much right away. Not right away, as soon as he can. And it'll either be a text or, hey, or what are you doing tonight? And I'll just say, obviously, the same thing I do every night, which is stay at home with my family. And I'll just say, come home. You know what I mean? Just get over here. And we'll go down the basement or talk in front of everybody. It doesn't matter. But you know, that's the biggest thing is talking it out, getting it out. And he does that. He's very good at it. And I appreciate that.
And Chief Euchers from West Midlands says Sully has always been a great firefighter on our scenes.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, that's a question I had for Sully. If someday when you have kids, do you hope to get your kids involved in the fire service too?
I hope so.
We're not trying to speed that up, man.
Hey, you need some more grandkids.
No, I don't. I have no. Not right now.
I'll say the joy you get out of them. So you need some
do.
more. So
Yeah.
That's all I had. Unless Geno wanted to say anything else, or
I don't think I really have anything else. Do I?
not that I know.
No.
All right. So I wanted to give another shout out to.
So, do you have anything
Yeah.
last before we take off? Remember, I texted you that earlier. Did you think of anything? You don't have to. It's
Yeah.
no pressure.
Was there anything you'd have warned me of before I joined, if you could have?
Yeah, I honestly do. It's a good question. What I should have prepared you better for the politics of the fire service, and I didn't. I prepared you very well for the job, and I believe that at probably around 10 or 11 years old, you were able to at least get water in a line. You knew which gauges to pull on a pump panel to get water. So, but I didn't give you enough. What do you say? I don't say talks or whatever, but education on how deep the politics can be in any, and that goes into any organization. But when there's an organization that's run by a bunch of alpha males, mainly, in most places, and that's not a dig on women in the fire service or anything like that, but it's predominantly an alpha male trade. And with that becomes politics are involved, and I didn't, but you're going to learn it. And if you have any questions, obviously, I'm not really hard to find, buddy.
All right, so we want to thank FireCam again. They're our sponsor for our show. And don't forget, everybody, if you subscribe to our X channel, one of the first 200 subscribers is going to win a chance at getting the Blackjack flashlight. It's the BJ1000 kit. It's a must-have for interior firefighters. It's a multi-functioning fire helmet flashlight. Provides an optimal high-power, weight-adjustable beam for firefighting in dark smoke-filled environments. And also, don't forget, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, one of the first to 500 subscribers is going to win a chance at winning a FireCam. So make sure you go and subscribe to both the X channel and the YouTube channel, and let's get those cameras and flashlights given away. So we're going to go into our news segment here now. Unfortunately, the news segment, I just have 3 line of duty deaths. Flagler County, Florida, one of the fire candidates of Fendrick Gabod, 40, died after completing his agility test. Apparently sounds like he wanted a cardiac arrest, passed away. So our thoughts, condolences to him, his family, and his coworkers. Raywick, Kentucky, Lieutenant Brian Hatt, 51, died from injuries in an apparatus rollover. Our thoughts to his coworkers, his family, his friends. And lastly, Bivens Creek Fire, Montana, Ruben Gonzalez Romero, 60 years old, suffered cardiac emergency while working suppressing a forest fire. He's working for contractor TJ Forestry Contracting. So our thoughts and condolences to his friends, families, and coworkers. And then I don't really have anything else. Geno, do you have anything?
No, I would really, the tragedy that occurred today in Wisconsin, and just to give say a few words for that community, those children, the children's families, the survivors, may God hold them in his hands. And I don't know, that's going to be tough for those families out there. And just, I hope that God's looking over them.
Yeah, obviously, sickening, senseless
It's
tragedy.
tragic.
And hopefully, unfortunately, we see too many of those lately. And
Yeah.
hopefully, I don't know what to say about it. But
Yeah.
so our thoughts, prayers with everybody up there. And makes
Minnesota.
When I
Yeah.
say Wisconsin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
And sort of anxious to see how Facebook went tonight. Seems like I think we had a lot of people on Facebook. So we'll see how that went. And it was our first episode on Facebook. So that's in the books. So make sure you join us next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Anybody got any show topics? Make sure you email them to us. And now we look forward to seeing you.
Hey, everybody, try not to suck.